Alrighty, welcome back. Let's go ahead and create some controls in a interface. So right click on the controls folder, go to add new item, select user control, call this first one layers control. Below our layers, which will be segments or shapes, I've been calling them segments, so we'll continue to use that name. Segments control. Excuse me for the rudimentary names or the basic names here. And below that, we are going to add in a path part control. Up here, we are going to add a class, but we're going to turn it into an interface. We're going to call it a I control base, or I base control, I believe. And we'll start off there because we need everybody to inherit from this guy or gal. I guess it could be a gal if you want it to be. Okay. And actually, we can leave that internal if we want to. Internal interface. And it's just going to have one method, clear bindings. So when we click on an item in our tree view, bring that up real fast. When we click on an item in our tree view, a different control is loaded here that is bound to the selected item of our base view. Now the problem with that is when you click on a different type of item, you'll get a bunch of errors that actually may crash your the application while you're developing, as Microsoft Visual Studio tries to figure out what's going on and pumps out the errors in the output window. It kind of freaked me out when it crashed. So as we click on each new item type, this different control, we have to clear the bindings. We need the same method for each different control type, and therefore we use an interface. Simple enough. Okay, right now we're just worried about the layer control because we only have layers in here. Up here, we'll add this to the interface list. Clear bindings. And we have no bindings yet, but we will in a few minutes. Let's go ahead and open up the front end of the control, and we're just going to put a text box down here. Let's go ahead and define a grid though. Grid.row definitions. I'm going to have 3 row definitions. We'll use 1.75 asterisk for the height on the first one. The asterisk is basically saying to add all the row heights up, and this one will take up this many parts of the overall row heights. So the backend will add up these 3 values, and basically, depending on the height, how the window is scaled, this one will take up 9, whatever percentage 9 divided by the total is. That's the basics of it. Text box, text, we will be using both xbind and binding. So xbind takes place at runtime, or excuse me, at compile time. Binding takes place at runtime. Binding, you can change with hot reload. Xbind, you cannot change with hot reload. Okay, we do not have a view model defined yet. And the reason for that is, where's our main page? We have not put over here. That's main page view. I need our actual main page. We need a view model over here. So in our main page code behind, put a main page view model. Now some people don't like that I cast these every time, but that's because we could create a local variable for the main page, but we can't for the controls, and the controls need a copy of this. So why not just go ahead and cast everywhere? And then we're just going to take this away and put it over here in the view control, and within a couple seconds, well, once I include the using, jump over here. We don't have the selected item yet. Gee whiz. And of course, we need the selected item on the actual view model. Or actually on the base item, excuse me. So the selected item is exactly what it sounds like. It's which one we have selected in the tree. So over to our base item, add selected item. Sure, you can initialize it to null if you want to. It's going to be initialized to null. Even if you don't initialize it to null. Now, when we come back over to our layer view, Xbind should clear up shortly. And it's not clearing up. Did I spell that wrong? Hold on. Base view, selected item. I've done nothing wrong here. Compile. Nope. Main page view should have selected item now. Oh, I put it on the base item. Alrighty. My mistake. We'll go ahead and leave that here. Or actually, we have a slightly different version. We're just using the selected index over here, so don't worry about it. Just cut it away and take it over to the main page view. So selected item, although our tree view will initially bind to the layer, no matter which item we have selected, it goes to selected item. And now, my mistake, my error. There it goes. It's good. Okay, we also need our tree view control. Let's see if we can get that in real fast. If I can find the main page. Can you go to... Come on. You can do it. Alright. So, trying to do everything exactly the same as the mock-up of this app. Column definition. This time the width will be 2 star. And the second width, the second column, will have a width of 10 star. Row definitions. Row definition 1. Don't worry about setting the width on these. Row definition 2. They'll both be 50% of the page. My eye's itching. Okay. Let's add a stack panel and set its orientation to horizontal. Button. Name the first button New Layer. Now, these two buttons will not be using a command. We'll be using commands for most of our buttons, but just to show everything in working together with the view model, these two first buttons will be using just the click event. Of course, we have to have some way to add our layers. Okay, and below that, I want to wrap all that in a stack panel. For some reason, I wrapped both the tree view and the control in a stack panel. So we're going to do a tree view, xname, trv, items source, xbind, view model, layers. Selection mode, I was messing around with multi-select mode. Now this is one that gets everyone in trouble on the UWP tree view, right here. Items invoked. That is your magical method. You can't bind the selected item on the tree view, but you can set it via items invoked. And it's kind of annoying because that means UWP never became as good as UWP never became as good as WPF, but it's just a little annoyance. So you're advised, and sometimes you have to use data type. And for that, we need to add a model to our namespaces at the top of our page. So we'll call it model, and we'll say using notifier tutorial model. And that will add us our data type. And we'll say data type base item. Model base item. There we go. And we will go ahead and just fill this up with tree view items. I'm going to go ahead and name it, although I never used it. And the item source for its children will be xbind, and it will automatically find the children on the layers. I want everything expanded initially. And I want to put a text block in there. Once again, I went ahead and named it for no reason. And the text will be xbind name mode. It's two-way. Okay, and let's jump over to our main page. Let's add a new layer. So in the new layer click, we will simply say view model layers add new layer. And the new layer will have a name of string.format layer view model children or layers.count. And on the other one, we'll say if view model selected item is not equal to null, view model, and if it is, and if view model dot selected item is a layer, view model dot layer remove view model dot selected item. What? Because it's layers. That's not the way I've done it. Hold on. Ah, I see. Jump back over to layers. in the view model and change this to base item. We don't really need it to be the layer here at this collection. It can be base item. We don't want to mess up that. Then jump back over here and get rid of that. And now view model dot selected item is equal to null. Last of all, we have to set our view model selected item. If args.invoke item is a base item, else I have never had this be thrown, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in here. New exception, not a base item. And view model dot selected item is equal to a base item of the, yeah, you had it right there for a second, Microsoft. What'd you give up on yourself for? Alright, we have a bunch of other little items to add into here, but we will get to that next video. We're basically bound, but we need to load that control and clear its bindings, and that will only take a couple more minutes, and we will have our first control loading and ready to go. If you got something out of this, like and subscribe. Like I said, it does tell me that I'm doing the tutorials in the right area. I am going to try to do this also in WPF and Windows App SDK, just doing all the different forms. I do want to do the entire vector editor because it only took me about 2 to 3 days to write. God bless and see you in the next video.